Lena Ward didn't trip. She didn't stumble. She leaned in close, smiled at her phone, and tipped the cup on purpose. Hot coffee flooded my blouse, seeping down my chest while she held the cup there an extra second, like she was underlining a sentence. Her pink intern badge swung against her blazer as she laughed. "Oops," she said to the camera. "Not to me. Guess that's what happens when people stand in my way. My husband is the CEO. The lobby went silent in that special corporate way, no gasps, no outrage, just frozen calculation. No one stepped between an intern and the woman she'd just humiliated. Lena lifted her phone higher, framing my stained shirt. "Say hi," she told me. "Cheerful, cruel, you're live." I didn't move. I didn't wipe the coffee away. Shock hit first, sharp and dizzying. Then came the heat of embarrassment, thick and public, crawling up my neck. The kind you're expected to swallow politely in offices like this. "Watch where you're standing," she added, grinning. Some people don't belong in executive spaces. That one landed deeper, right now. I'd rather have a hot coffee than have someone spill coffee on my shirt, because it's colder than expected today. I wonder what the temperature is where you live right now, and if you're still listening, please leave your lucky number as a friendly greeting. I had just come back quietly. No email, no announcement, after years advising acquisitions, restructuring divisions, fixing problems leadership preferred not to admit existed. Strategic advisors don't need nameplates. We exist between decisions, not on org charts. Lena didn't know that. She saw an older woman in her way and mistook silence for weakness. I could feel eyes on me now, waiting, for anger, for tears, for the clip that would make her famous for a day. "I'm sorry," I said instead. Her smile twitched. "For the mess," I added, stepping back. That was when I reached into my bag and took out my phone. I didn't look at her when I called. When he answered, I said only one thing, calm enough to sting. "You should come down to the lobby, right now." And from that moment, the story takes a different turn. The following section contains some fictional elements and is AI assisted for storytelling and educational purposes, and is completely unrelated to any individual or group. I hope you enjoyed this story. If not, please get some rest, stay healthy, and see you again soon. She didn't stop after the coffee. Lena Ward snapped her fingers and told security, "Remove her!" The command rang out like a joke that no one dared laugh at. Guards hesitated, then moved, eyes apologetic, hands open, escorting me as if I were the problem she'd invented. As they walked me aside, Lena kept narrating, smiling at her screen. "This is what happens when you challenge leadership," she said. "Privilege exists for a reason." The lobby watched. No one objected. The humiliation grew louder because it was public. I remembered quieter rooms, years ago. I designed the compliance framework they still use, signed the vendor contracts that stabilized cash flow, and rebuilt a division everyone else had written off. I didn't need credit then. Results were enough. They always were. Lena didn't know any of that. She didn't need to. She had permission. That permission belonged to Ethan Caldwell, Chief Executive Officer. He was upstairs, protected by distance and deniability, letting an intern make noise so he wouldn't have to. This wasn't her arrogance alone. It was borrowed power. Loud and careless. "Keep filming," Ethan's assistant murmured from behind her. "Not to me." "It's fine." Lena's grin widened. That was when I noticed the icon on her screen. Executive access. Live. Unrestricted. My pulse steadied. Her stream wasn't just embarrassing me. It was logging everything. Routing through internal servers, capturing faces, credentials, conversations. A violation so clean it felt intentional. Lena leaned closer. "Say something," she whispered. I said nothing. I didn't argue when security guided me toward the glass doors. Arguing would have been theater. And Lena already had the spotlight. I walked calmly, coffee drying stiff against my skin, hearing her voice trail behind me. "See?" She laughed to her audience. No resistance. Typical. The doors slid open, cool air cutting across the heat on my chest, and the noise inside dulled instantly. Outside. I stopped, not to hesitate, but to breathe. Years of negotiations had trained me for moments like this. Silence unsettles people who rely on noise. I set my bag down, wiped my hands, and waited while the lobby continued without me, pretending nothing had happened. My phone vibrated. Unknown number. The message was short and confident. Don't burn your own shares. No signature, no explanation. Just a reminder that someone upstairs thought fear was leverage. I deleted it without replying. Threats only work when they reveal information. This one revealed panic. I didn't call Ethan Caldwell, not yet. I opened the internal compliance app instead. The one most executives forget exists until it ruins their week. 3 taps. Credential audit. Live access review. My credentials still worked. Of course they did. Quiet authority tends to survive public humiliation. Inside the lobby. Lena's voice rose again, muffled through the glass. She was still performing, still certain. I initiated a containment request, routing it through risk and security. The system asked a single question. Reason for escalation, I typed carefully. Unauthorized executive livestream in a controlled environment. Potential data exposure. I didn't add emotion. Systems don't need it. A confirmation screen flashed. Processing. My phone rang. Ethan this time. I let it ring out. Control isn't loud, it waits. The confirmation updated. Green to amber, then red. Security breach. Emergency flag activated. I exhaled slowly. Somewhere inside. Alarms would be soft. Procedural. Impossible to ignore. Doors wouldn't lock yet. Accounts wouldn't freeze yet. But the record now existed. Lena was still smiling. She had no idea the system was watching her instead. That realization settled quietly. Heavier than anger. As the consequences began moving forward, Ethan called back 3 times before I answered. The 4th time. His voice dropped the moment I said hello. Let's handle this privately, he said. Calm in the way people get when they are already losing. You don't need to turn this into a spectacle. I looked through the glass at the lobby. Lena was still smiling, still performing. You already did, I replied. I'm just documenting it. He sighed, impatient. She's an intern. She got excited. We'll apologize. Clean it up. Move on. Come upstairs. Page 7, I said. Silence. Not confusion. Recognition. Don't start quoting contracts. Ethan snapped. You're emotional right now. I'm precise. I said, there's a difference. He lowered his voice. You're risking the company, stock, partners, everyone. Think bigger. I'm thinking bigger. I said, that's why page 7 exists. I remembered the night he begged to keep that clause vague, joking about optics and trust, ethical conduct, reputational harm, unauthorized use of executive access, immediate suspension pending review. We'd both signed. He'd forgotten. I hadn't. Turn this off, he said. Tell compliance it was a mistake. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Inside. Screens would already be shifting. Every swipe, every login, every word Lena streamed was now time-stamped and archived. The system doesn't panic. It records. Daisy, he said. Sharper now. You're blowing this up. No, I replied. You did. When you let her log in. His breathing changed. Faster. You don't understand the fallout. I understand the process. I said. He tried another angle. We can fix this together, like before. That was before you hid behind an intern. I said. A notification slid across my screen. Activity logging enabled. Session capture active. I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I simply waited. Each second stretched. Invisible but permanent. Locking his decisions into evidence. While he argued with air. Unaware that every attempt to regain control only deepened the record he could never erase from the company's servers forever. Somewhere upstairs. Ethan Caldwell was still the CEO, on paper. But the system had started writing a different version of the story. If you agree that staying calm, refusing private deals, and letting the system record the truth was the right move, leave a 1 in the comments. Your voice matters, because every shared opinion helps expose how power really gets abused and how it should be stopped. I stayed outside the glass, close enough to hear the shift before I saw it. Footsteps arrived with purpose this time, not hesitation. 2 people broke from the crowd, one in ET, tablet pressed to his chest, the other from HR, posture straight, expression already closed. The tone of the lobby changed instantly. "Miss Ward," the IT lead said, voice level, "you need to end the stream, now." Lena laughed, still filming. "I don't take orders from tech support," she said. "Talk to my husband." HR didn't blink. "This is not a request." I watched Lena's smile tighten. "The CEO approved my access." She snapped, "If there's a problem, take it up with him." That was the first crack. Blame travels fast when confidence runs out. The IT lead turned his tablet so she could see it. "You're broadcasting through an executive credential," he said. "That session is now under review." Her eyes flicked to the elevators. "Empty." "Call him," she said. Louder, "Call Ethan. He'll clear this up." No one moved. HR folded her arms. "Which assistant logged you in?" Lena hesitated. "Just long enough to matter." "He's busy," she said. "He's coming." I felt the balance tip. Not dramatically, methodically. The IT lead tapped his screen. Recording preserved. He said, "Metadata locked." The red light on Lena's phone disappeared. She stared at it, stunned. "You can't do that." "We already did," HR replied. Lena turned in a slow circle, searching for rescue. "He wouldn't leave me like this," she said, more to herself than anyone else. The elevator stayed silent. Someone whispered her name. Another person stepped back. Distance appeared where support used to be. I didn't step inside. I didn't need to. The evidence was already safer than I was. HR signaled security. "Escort her to my office." Lena finally looked at me, eyes sharp with fear. "You did this," she said. "No," I thought. "You did. And the person who promised to protect you chose not to show up." That absence, more than any accusation, told everyone watching exactly how disposable loyalty really was inside that lobby. Ethan finally appeared when the room could no longer protect him. He stepped out of the executive elevator with his jacket half-buttoned, eyes scanning for exits before landing on Lena. The calculation came fast. "Too fast. This is unacceptable," he said loudly, "already performing damage control. She is a probationary intern, and she's terminated effective immediately." The words fell hard. Lena froze, then shook her head. "What?" Her voice cracked. "You told me to do this. You said making noise would show strength. You said they wouldn't dare touch me." Ethan didn't look at her. Not once. "You went too far," he snapped. "I never authorized this behavior." The lie hung there, fragile and obvious. Lena's panic turned sharp. "You approved the access," she shouted. "You told your assistant to log me in. You said it would scare them." Murmurs spread. Phones lowered. Eyes shifted from her to him. Ethan raised a hand, trying to regain control. "This is emotional confusion," he said. "She's unstable." That was the moment the room stopped believing him. HR stepped forward, voice calm, unforgiving. "Mr. Caldwell, those are serious allegations." She turned to Lena. "Are you saying the CEO instructed you to misuse executive credentials?" Lena swallowed, then nodded. "Yes." Silence stretched. Ethan finally looked at me, searching for rescue out of habit. I gave him nothing. "This is a misunderstanding," he said quickly. "We'll resolve it internally." HR didn't move. "No," she replied. "We won't." She glanced at the IT lead, then back at Ethan. "Given the statements made and the documented breach, we are initiating a formal investigation." Ethan's face drained. "That's unnecessary. It's mandatory." HR said, "Effective immediately." Lena sagged as security approached again. This time for questions, not removal. She looked smaller now, stripped of borrowed power. Ethan straightened his tie. Voice tight. "You're making a mistake." HR met his gaze. "You already did." I watched them stand there, former allies turning on each other, each trying to survive by sacrificing the other. The loyalty was gone. The noise was gone. Only process remained. And once process begins, no one gets to rewrite how it ends. I stepped forward before Ethan could speak again. The room had gone quiet enough to hear breath. I set my bag on the marble and looked at the faces that had avoided me all morning. "My name is Daisy Knox," I said. "I'm not a visitor. I'm the strategic advisor who designed the risk controls you're standing inside." A ripple moved. I kept going. I returned without notice because systems tell the truth when people don't. I signed the recovery plan after the Western failure. I negotiated the vendor moratorium that kept payroll running. I wrote the escalation ladder you're using right now. Ethan laughed, thin and sharp. "This is inappropriate, so is pretending you don't know me," I said. "But here we are." I turned to the desk phone reserved for governance. It still recognized my credentials. I pressed the line and spoke evenly. "Board operations. Put me on speaker. Immediate governance review." Ethan stepped closer. "Don't," he said. "You'll hurt the company. I'm protecting it." I replied. "From you." The line clicked. A familiar voice answered. "State your concern. Unauthorized executive access." I said. "Live streaming from a controlled space. Instruction given to a subordinate. Evidence preserved." Ethan shook his head, smiling for the room. "She's emotional. Page 7. I said again. "Ethics and reputational harm. Trigger conditions met." Silence followed, heavier than noise. Then someone else moved. A woman from finance I barely recognized stepped forward, hands shaking, voice steady. "I can confirm," she said. "I was asked to erase logs last month. I didn't." Ethan's smile vanished. "I kept copies." She added, "And messages." The board voice hardened. "Send them now." I lowered the phone. The pressure I'd held all day finally released. Not as anger, but as certainty. Power doesn't announce itself. It authorizes process, then waits while truth walks into the light. I didn't raise my voice. And I didn't need permission. The room understood hierarchy again. The quiet kind built by contracts, records, and witnesses. I stood still, watching consequences line up, knowing the next door would open without me pushing today, now. The files didn't arrive with drama. They surfaced quietly, one after another, like cracks spreading across glass. Messages, approvals, instructions sent after hours, requests to delay reports, orders to reroute access. Each document confirmed what the room already felt, but hadn't named yet. "This can't be real," someone whispered. "It's all real," the board voice said through the phone. "Colder now, and it's consistent." Ethan stood rigid, watching screens populate with his decisions. His authority didn't vanish at once. It flickered. Then it failed. The light on his executive badge blinked red. He tapped it against the reader. Once. Twice. Nothing. "What's happening?" he demanded. IT answered without emotion. "Your access has been suspended pending review." "That's not possible," Ethan said. "I'm the CEO. Not right now." HR replied. The lobby shifted again. Sharper this time. Phones buzzed. Assistants backed away. Distance formed instinctively, like people stepping back from something unstable. Ethan looked at me. Not angry, just exposed. "You set me up," he said quietly. "No," I replied. "You documented yourself." Security approached. Slower than before. Careful. They didn't touch him yet. They didn't need to. Process had already moved past permission. The board voice returned. "We have evidence of manipulation, concealment, and abuse of executive authority." Ethan tried to speak. The words didn't land. "And given the scope," the voice continued, "we are recommending referral to federal regulators." That did it. Air left the room. Even Lena stopped crying somewhere behind us. Federal Ethan said, "That's excessive. It's required." The board said. I watched the consequences cascade, each one triggering the next. Clean and irreversible. Contracts don't care about excuses. Systems don't pause for regret. Security finally stepped closer. "Sir, we need you to come with us." Ethan straightened his jacket out of habit, then stopped. There was nowhere to go that still belonged to him. I didn't feel relief. I felt alignment. The truth had found traction, and everything built on denial was collapsing under its own weight. I stayed where I was, silent. As power finished undoing itself, I didn't stay for the closed-door meeting. Justice doesn't need witnesses once it's procedural. I waited in a small conference room while decisions moved faster than rumors. When HR returned, their faces were neutral, practiced. "Ethan Caldwell is suspended effective immediately." One of them said, "All executive authority revoked pending review. No shouting, no gavel, just removal." The company reacted the way markets do, instantly. Calendars cleared, assistants reassigned. His name disappeared from distribution lists as if it had never belonged there. Power evaporates faster than reputation ever does. Lena passed by escorted, eyes swollen, badge already inactive. HR followed with a tablet. "Permanent misconduct flag," she said aloud. "For the record, ineligible for rehire or recommendation." Lena looked at me once, searching for anger she could blame. I gave her none. Consequences don't need emotion to hurt. By afternoon, the narrative tried to turn. A shaky clip surfaced online, cropped, silent, designed to make me look cold. For 20 minutes. It almost worked. Then the system answered. Full footage followed. Logs, timestamps, her deliberate spill, his access approval. The live stream routed through executive credentials. Comment sections flipped like a switch. "This isn't drama." Someone wrote, "It's governance failure." Analysts picked it up. Journalists stopped calling it a scandal and started calling it a breach. Ethan's name trended once, briefly, then fell off when there was nothing left to speculate about. I watched it all from the same chair. Satisfaction wasn't loud. It was steady, the kind that comes when rules are enforced without exceptions. By evening, the board released a statement. Independent review, regulatory cooperation, transparency, no mention of me. That was fine. Justice isn't about credit. It's about alignment. When systems work, they don't celebrate, they correct. I stood, gathered my things, and left quietly, knowing the story would keep moving without me, because truth, once public, no longer needs protection. Outside, the building reflected nothing back at me. And for the first time that day, the silence felt earned, heavy, and complete, like a ledger finally balanced after years of deliberate miscounting by those in power. I left the building the way I had entered it earlier that day without announcement. No cameras followed. No one tried to stop me. Silence felt different now. It wasn't imposed. It was earned. Outside, the air was cool, ordinary, indifferent to titles and scandals. I didn't feel victorious. I felt aligned. The systems I helped design had done what they were meant to do. Without shouting, without mercy, without favor. Power doesn't need to humiliate to prove itself. It doesn't spill coffee, raise its voice, or borrow confidence from borrowed names. It waits, documents, and lets consequences arrive on schedule. As I walked away, my phone buzzed with messages I didn't read. I didn't need closure from people who confuse noise for strength. I said nothing to anyone. I didn't have to. That mattered. Truly powerful people don't spill coffee. They just wait for the system to collapse on its own. That day taught me something I wish more people learned before they were forced to learn it the hard way. Real power isn't loud, it doesn't rush to defend itself, and it doesn't need an audience to feel real. What carries weight is preparation, restraint, and the courage to let truth surface on its own terms. I didn't win because I was angrier, smarter in the moment, or more ruthless. I won because I trusted systems, documentation, and my own boundaries when humiliation tried to provoke me into noise. Emotion matters, but control matters more. Dignity is not weakness. Silence, when chosen deliberately, can be a form of strength. If you were in that lobby, publicly disrespected, underestimated, pushed to react, what would you do? Would you try to prove yourself in seconds? Or would you protect yourself for the long run? That question isn't theoretical. Many people face it quietly every day at work, in families, in relationships where power is uneven. Stories like this aren't just entertainment. They're reminders that fairness still exists when people refuse to abandon principles under pressure. If this story made you feel seen, or helped you imagine a calmer, stronger response in your own life, then it has already done something meaningful. By the way, where are you listening from right now if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard? Consider subscribing. One subscription, one like, one share helps this message reach someone who might need it today. Your small action can help another person realize they're not powerless and that doing the right thing still matters. This story was fully created and produced by our team. We do not copy or borrow content from any other channel. Thank you for staying with us and listening until the end.